Hello and welcome to the Confusion Wrestling Podcast, the last bastion of independent wrestling. I'm your host, Rob Kammer, and today we got a special guest in the studio. He is known as the Great Greek, the Lion of Sparta. He is known as Theseus. We are going to talk about, well, let's face it, this was a rather fun interview. Just because, in my humble opinion, and this is not really a slight towards the interview, but things went completely off the rails towards the end. And then we just started fantasy booking, and it was pure insanity in the best way possible. Pure EWR for those computer nerds out there. Pure EWR action, and it was a lot of fun. So stay tuned for that. Don't have a whole lot else to talk about, I guess, for this intro. I don't know. Is John Cena still a heel? Is Will Ospreay still an idiot? Probably. But yeah, so we're going to just go ahead and cut right away, get into the adverts, the things that, quite frankly, I hate, but it helps pay the bills. So we're going to drop those ads, get yourself a coffee, get yourself an energy drink, all that sort of good stuff. And we'll just come right back with the Lion of Greece, Theseus. Hey folks, MLW Confusion's become a veritable hub of shopping and treats and all that sort of good stuff. Whether you need a sugar-free alternative to energy drinks in the form of Raise Energy, or maybe even, top-of-the-line ice makers, coffee machines, and other household appliances, or, well, let's go crazy, and you can even get WWE licensed apparel, all through my links section. All you got to do is wander down to the descriptor of this week's episode, check out the various links, click on them, and go shopping like you normally would. Heck, it's no difference. You just came in and just said Rob sent you. And that way, you can get the things you need, maybe even at a discount, and the podcast gets a kickback as well. So be sure to check out those links. Thank you very much for listening. Back to the show. All right, we are back. The Confusion Wrestling Podcast. I'm Rob Kammer. With me in the studio today, we have a special guest, one of the big up-and-comers in the Midwest region. He is the Lion of Greece. He is Theseus. Theseus, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Oh, I can't complain too much. Thanks for coming on the show. But we'll kind of just jump right into things and we'll see how things go from here. But I always like starting out with the super original, never asked before question by any podcast, of course, is what made you a fan of professional wrestling? What kind of made you fall in love with the business?
I was really young when I got into wrestling. I don't even really properly remember when I first got into wrestling because I got an older brother who always had it on in the house. But the earliest thing I can remember wrestling wise was 2002 SummerSlam with Shawn Michaels and Triple H, their unsanctioned match. I remember just wearing that DVD out, just going top to bottom through that thing and just being like, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened. I need to know more. And then just being hooked on it from there, man.
It's an interesting match to kind of use that to fall in love with, because that set the bar high just in terms of even just the chaos factor of wrestling, because that was not your everyday run of the mill match, and I could see that being kind of end up being a downer when then we go to just watching William Regal chain wrestle for the next 5 minutes or something of the like.
The
But
whole pay-per-view, even you got Kurt and Rey Mysterio on there. You got that match. You got RVD and Ben Warren, if you remember right, on that card. Rock and Brock
no,
on that. It was just a crazy way to get into it. But yeah, that's my first memory. I'm like, oh, I love this. This is what I need to be into. This is where we're going.
well, and again, kind of the antithesis of what I just said. That was really that initial brand split was just a really, at least on the SmackDown side, the SmackDown 6 was just such a banger time for WWE in general. And then they all, on the Raw side, they did have the return of Shawn Michaels and then his subsequent feud with Triple H. So it was pretty solid
Yeah.
overall. And it had a little bit of something for everybody at that time. But how, so that you got started real young into it. What made you, as an adult, go, okay, I'm going to cross that line and enter the business. I'm going to get trained.
I mean, it was always the plan since I was a kid. You know, you're going around the classroom going, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a wrestler. It's like, all right, you need to find a real job. It's like, nope, I'm good. Thank you. I'm going to be a wrestler. So it was always a plan. It was just like, uh, it's like you called it earlier, I'm the same hometown Midwest guy. Gonna break that open a little bit. Not actually from the Midwest. Originally, come from Southern Idaho, and there's nothing there in terms of like pro wrestling, or at least at the time. There's a little promotion there now, I know, but at the time, nothing there. But like growing up and then like even out of high school, it's just like how do you even be a wrestler? How much even the avenue for that? And so it's like I remember being really young, going through because they're like, oh, like present like what you're gonna do with your future to the class or whatever. And I think I don't remember. It would have been like 2014, 2015. I don't know. I don't think Black and Brave was a thing at the time. Whenever I was doing this, and I was like, I'm gonna move to whatever the fuck, and we're gonna train at the Ring of Honor. I'm gonna be a wrestler. And it was always a plan to figure it out. And like eventually, the older I got, COVID happened real quick as soon as I got out of high school, and that shut everything down. So I had plenty of time to like look into like, okay, where do I want to go? Who do I want to train with? Like, just do my proper research. And I figured Black and Brave was the best spot to go.
So that is interesting. So I have to ask. So anybody who transplants from pretty much anywhere that to just come to Iowa, you know, how different is, is there any culture shock coming, say in your case, from Idaho to Iowa?
Um, I mean, probably for other people. For me, a little bit, I guess, because like even where I'm from in Idaho, it's a real small town. Like we're talking like maybe 500 people. And so, like, this isn't like a big city. And like, I'd been to like cities before, but like coming here and like actually like living here and like being here long term, I was like, this is great. I don't have to drive 25 minutes to go get groceries. That's amazing.
Ah, I
I'd say
feel you
that's
that.
like the only biggest difference. But there's plenty of
Yeah.
people who've come to Black and Brave like internationally, even. And so, like, I
Oh
imagine for
yeah.
them, it's a way bigger deal.
Oh yeah, I talked with John Bonart, who's a California boy. Like, luckily
Yeah.
he was in the Los Angeles kind of guy, so like he's closer to NorCal, so it wasn't quite as huge. But I know there's been at least a couple of Australians, at least one Guatemalan guy from France. Like I'm not the expert
Yes.
on
And
everybody's come through.
Germany, Brazil,
Yeah,
a lot of people have come through.
but yeah, and I didn't want to go into stereotyping, but I don't see a big difference between Idaho and Iowa. At least it will
There
say kind of
really
like the
isn't.
setup, like at least in terms of like the geography and kind of like the uh like economic, socioeconomic status kind of
It's a
thing.
lot colder, and instead of potatoes, there's corn, and that's gonna be about it.
Yeah, that's fair. Though I have to ask, I mean, you kind of imply you're gonna have to make the trip like anywhere. Like I'm not sure, like I'm not sure what wrestling related thing, even in this day and age where there's wrestling everywhere, that's up in that area. Like almost everything I could think of, like that would have that's I know is respectable would be like either in Vegas, uh, wherever Defy is up in Washington,
Yeah,
and
there. Yeah,
there's a handful, and I mean a handful in California, but
yeah.
like mainly to your to your wants and needs. Like, so what set the Black and the Brave apart? Why choose Iowa over, say, going to well, I guess the Ring of Honor dojo was on its way out at that point, but you
Yeah.
know some of the other schools.
I mean, doing it at the time, I figured like, cause like I said, there's like nothing big around that area, but like whatever I could find that was anywhere close, even within like 5 or 6 hours. It's like, oh, trained by Jim Brown or whoever. And it's like, I've never heard of this man in my life. I've never seen that name in my life. And so, like, going through it, for me, the major like schools looking at were Black and Brave, Nightmare Factory had just started up, and Reality of Wrestling. And it's like looking at like those places in relation. It's like, okay, so you got Iowa, Texas and Georgia. And it's like, I was probably the closest. It's still halfway across the country, but it's probably the closest. And they were also the only ones I could find that had boarding at the time, where it's like, just pay like this amount. We've got a house set up for students, da 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 da. And like I said, like you want someone who like there's a name there that you recognize, you know who this is, you know they've had success in this business. And so it's like, yeah, why would I say, I don't want to be trained by Seth Rollins. I want to be trained by Elmer Fudd down the street, you know?
And I was going to say, like, not that I've done extensive research into wrestling schools, but like, I haven't heard of too many stories of the various schools having their own like room and board, and like that's something. Black and Brave doesn't put it like front and center, but if you go through the about the curriculum part, like it's in there, and I thought that
Yeah,
was very interesting because that like that's a very college esque experience on that front.
it
You got
really is. It really is.
essentially like it's essentially oh well, student housing. I mean, small colleges have student housing and or the dorms. So
Yeah.
that's this actually probably a lot closer to college education in terms of how it's set up compared to a lot of folks who just come right out of high school to start the wrestling process.
Yeah, just go pay $50 to your local promoter and see what's going on.
What was it like being able to train under? I mean, everyone knows and loves Seth Rollins. So what was it like training under Seth? But I also try to like shout out Merrick Brave and Matt Mayday as the other lead trainers.
Yeah. So like you said, everyone knows, loves Seth Rollins. Very busy man.
Who
So
would have
he's not
thought?
gonna be there, 24/7 teaching you all like everything. So you do have Merrick Brave and Crotch there. And it's a great school, I think, for learning the fundamentals and learning like psychology, like the why behind why you do things, instead of just like, all right, kid, here's how you bump, here's how you do a wrist lock. Get out there and figure it out for yourself. I'd say like psychology is like probably. I mean, I haven't been to other wrestling schools, so I can't say for sure.
Yeah,
But I feel like psychology aspect is definitely like Black and Brave's strong suit, and just like teaching you like why we do these things instead of just showing you how to do the moves. But it's great training with those guys.
and I heard actually, going back to the Seth part of it, I've heard that was very much his specialty too. Like again, he's not there all the time because obviously he's on the road with WWE, like 4 or 5 days a week. Plus, I mean, he's a high up the card, so he's got various other media stuff.
Yeah,
But that
man's
was
got
something like,
crazy media, crazy schedule. He's a dad, like completely understandable. Let the man have his life.
yeah, but he does come to school, and I was told like that was kind of like the one like his like his two strong suits in terms of training, and you can tell me I've been lied to or whatever. But one was trying to find like work on character stuff was one of his strong suits, and then his other big thing was, again, as you put it, the whys. He was very good at going like, why'd you do that, and then making you explain why you made whatever decision it was that he's questioning.
Yeah, he's really good about that stuff. Um, and like I think like also like another like huge benefit is like I say, he's not available like 24/7, but like he will make time for his students. Like you can hit him up like when you like, hey, when you have some time, could you look at this match for me? Can you tell me what you think on this idea? Da da da. And he'll get back to you when he can. And like that's a very like cool thing to have him as a resource. Cause like I don't know how many people can be like, yeah, I have one of the top guys in this industry, like phone click away to be like, hey, what do you think on this? Is this shit?
No, and obviously WWE puts faith in his work as well. I mean, not I mean obviously as a performer, but even as an instructor and the Black and Brave, because they were one of the first schools announced as part of that ID program, and we'll kind of see what that means for. We'll see what that means for wrestling school. As things progress down the road,
Yeah.
that's leading up. It's a whole other can of worms that I'm not sure either of us make enough money to think too hard about.
Oh, I'm thinking about it. We're all. Let me tell. Oh, let me tell you something about
Okay.
indie wrestlers. As soon as WWE ID was announced, Every one of us was thinking about it. We're like, how
Oh
do
yeah.
I do this? Get me in there. I want one. I want a contract.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, if WWE's the goal, which a lot of wrestlers, that's still the goal. Like obviously, that's putting yourself on the radar. But like I kind of thought of it like as kind of a polarizing thing too, because like, well, yeah, for you guys, it's great because that's going to be indirect, like either directly or indirectly means more money into your pockets because either you got a pipeline to the WWE, or hey, I'm WWE approved. That's you can add a couple more bucks to your appearance fee. And
Yeah.
this is why I got my whole hot tub of pizza rolls here to bribe you onto this show. But like, and then you have all of us, neckbeards at my end going like, are they trying to control the indies? Are they trying to turn it into a monopoly again? But I, things are
No,
going to be
like
what they
I've
are. Well,
yeah, I know a little bit about how the ID contracts work, and like it's fine. It's very like if
uh,
anything, it's great for your indie workers to be able to like have more of a pathway because like the last couple of years recently it's been a lot of college kids going in and like I feel like the indie hasn't gotten a whole lot. And like this very much creates an avenue for indie talent to like have a feeder system directly into WWE instead of just, well, I hope someone saw a clip and they didn't think it was terrible. I hope someone didn't see a bad clip, you know what I mean? Instead of just being like purely luck based. It's like, all right, like there's now people actually paying attention. It's their job to pay attention to what's going on out here. So I think it's pretty good for indie workers. I don't think it's
yeah.
really controlling the indies in any way.
Yeah. Well, and I also look at it this way. It also like saves some of you guys' trouble because I know there's more than a handful of wrestlers that are like, I'm going to go to Florida because that's where I can get noticed by the NXT scouts. Or I know, and back in the day, it'd also be like, I'm going to move to Kentucky so I can, people in OVW can see me
Yeah,
because that was developmental. Or I'm going to Cincinnati. Same story there. So this, I think, it makes it easier that you don't have to uproot your life any more than you already have to as an indie worker that has to
yeah,
travel, wherever it is you are going to travel on that week basis.
yeah, for sure. I think it's a good thing.
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like this is just honestly like the best time to be a fan of wrestling because there's just so much stuff going on.
For
Whether
sure.
it's WWE, AEW, the Indies are the strongest they've been in quite some time. Like the advent of streaming has allowed promotions that may have been hidden that are doing banger work to be on our TV screens once a month or whenever you choose to pull it up on demand. So,
Yeah.
I think it's great overall. But to another back, so speaking of traveling, WWE ID, the goals and whatnot. So you graduate from Black and Brave. Like, what were your next steps after graduation and getting indie work?
Just getting in cars, just talking to the other graduates there, talking to the boys and being like, hey, where are the indies? What are we doing? Let's go. Let's get out there. Let's hit the towns. And, I mean, that's still always the goal is just find new places to work. Try to get your name out there as much as possible. Try to, get as much experience as you can. Try to get as much exposure and just, yeah, go everywhere, wrestle everyone, do everything you can to try to get noticed as much as you can and have fun, of course, because, like, that's what we're all here for at the end of the day. Everyone's just trying to have fun in wrestling, but yeah, coming straight out of school, it's all right. I got through that. Now the work starts, you know?
Well, you got to be seen somehow. You can't just sit at home and just wait for the phone to ring
Yeah.
because no one
No one's
knows to
calling.
call you. Yeah, no one knows to even call you. So you got to go, put in the legwork. But you've managed to pop up, all over kind of the Illinois, Iowa, northern Midwest kind of region. You've kind of made a home for yourself in honor mug wrestling. We've seen you. You've had a handful of matches in Chicago style wrestling, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I
Um,
did some pre-show stuff there
there's
for
this
him.
there, and you just not terribly long ago had was it Midwest All Star
Yeah, I was at
Wrestling?
Midwest
Okay,
All Star. Did my first match there. Really great company and people. Hope I get to go back again soon. Same with Ironheart over there in
all
Minnesota.
right.
Love those guys. Just a great locker room, great show. Everyone's trying to be better up there.
right? And I don't just list off random places you've been. Yeah, I'm partial to Dreamwave. You got to do one of their good as gold rumbles, correct?
Yeah, that was a really cool experience. Dreamwave obviously one of the bigger promotions in the area, arguably the biggest promotion, but been just paying my dues there, doing what I can. Uh, and I asked the promoter, I was like, "Hey man, like, you think I can get in on this Rumble thing?" And he's like, "Of course, dude. Like, you're always here. Of course you can get in this." And so that was really cool to just like see how like that kind of thing is all set up, be around like a lot of the older indie veterans there, being around like a Christian Rose, a Vic Capri, a Warhorse, talking with those guys and just being like, "Oh, okay, so this is how you see it. Can we do this?" Da, da, da. You know what I mean?
No, and Dreamwave is really good about bringing. I'm not going to necessarily say legends, but yeah, a really big names for the independent scene and
Oh yeah.
whatnot. So like there's a lot of I can't speak for any of those vets that they bring in, but like there's a lot of in theory opportunity to sit under, no pun intended, a learning tree of sorts of just
Yeah.
anyone
Like
and
I think the
everyone.
first show I was there, they had Alex Shelley. He was the TNA champion at the time. And it's like they got Alex Shelley in like the fourth match of the card. It's like, oh no, I'm not gonna get on here for a while. Like, oh, these waters run deep. I gotta have to work for this. All fun and games because you have to do that everywhere, but it's just like it is
Right.
like you said, very much like a star-studded, like all-star kind of roster over at Dreamwave. They always got someone new coming in. The next show they're bringing in Nick Nemeth, I believe, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh my god,
Yeah. I've gone to a handful of Dreamwave, and like as a fan, I love and hate it. Like banger shows, absolutely amazing shows, especially for like considering that it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, Illinois, compared to like a lot of indies. But like the amount of buzz they can generate, and then it's further helped by being able to stream on IWTV. But like I hate the meet and greet section, like, and merch sections over at Dreamwave. Like, there's just no room to do anything, and I hate it.
yeah. I
So,
mean, that's a good problem to have as a
oh
company.
yeah,
We've got too many people in here. But
yeah,
yeah, man, like for like you said, being like not necessarily like it's not in a giant city. It's not Chicago, it's not St. Louis, but still like selling out their shows the same day that they're announced most of the time. It's like that's a kind of crazy thing to be able to do.
yeah. That's the reason I don't go near as often, is because they start selling tickets right in the middle of the workday,
Yeah,
and it's like I can't always be online to be first in line, and depending on who what's announced, like the tickets will go within an
real
hour.
quick.
Like I think with Nick Namath, it legit went within an hour that like
Yeah,
it sold out. And
really,
I know that,
really fast.
and then I know they opened up some more table seatings because it's outdoors this time, but like still like it's ridiculous. Like I didn't even get a chance to touch my computer to pretend to get tickets, which
Yeah, just see the notification like tickets on sale. 5 minutes
yeah,
later, we're sold.
yeah, which first world problems, man. Like that's
Yeah,
like that is guaranteed money in the company's pockets, and if you're selling that much, like that means they're coming back next month too.
yeah.
So,
Great
which
problems to have.
great problems to have. And then looking at it as someone like yourself who's still younger into your career, like having the opportunity to at least be around all that, or in the case of the Good as Gold Rumble, like come into a packed Knights of Columbus and be able to do your thing for however many minutes you got to do it.
Yeah, like that kind of exposure on that level is always really cool to have. Because like like you said, bigger show like Dreamwave and is streaming on IWTV, and especially like for a thing like that, it's like, oh, we've announced like all these like bigger names for this Rumble, and then you get a young unknown guy like me come in, like maybe someone saw some me doing something, they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Let me go see what this guy's about. Let me follow him. I think I got like a good boost in like following just from that show alone. And so like those are the kind of like things you work for, you know what I mean?
Oh, exactly. Like at a certain level, any exposure is good exposure if you, especially if you got dream like the eyes that are on Dreamwave's product. I
Yeah.
know I've had the opportunity to speak with A Starling, and he said like he loved doing like jobs for WWE. Like he didn't care the match was like 3 minutes and he got nothing in. But just because of the amount of eyes that were on the product, he was going to be guaranteed, at least 3 bookings a week for the next month, and
Yeah.
he got to like up his rate for a little bit too. So like just having the eyes on there, plus the experience of being able to work with, in your case, the Warhorses, the Christian Rose, which I can't say enough good things about Christian Rose. Like I think it's criminal that he's not had more opportunity in the business, and I don't know if that's his own decision or someone else's, but it's still criminal for one way or the other.
Yeah.
Um,
Nice guy.
but
Great guy
just
too.
yeah, it is. He's such a good heel. He's such a good slime ball that I want to smack him. And I know it's just wrestling, and I shouldn't be trying to smack him, but he's so good at his job at that front.
Name of the
Um,
game, baby.
but yeah, that's again the problems you want to have as a worker, right?
Yeah.
Um, but you are, but you're on your way up in say Dreamwave, making your way up in Dreamwave, getting some eyes on the product there. But you, as I said, kind of at the top of the show, you've kind of, you've made yourself kind of at home in the Quad Cities with Honor Among Wrestling. It seems where you've kind of like that's. You can tell me I'm wrong, and but it seems
Oh
to
no,
kind
you're
of just be
100%
your
right
kind
on
of
that.
your home kind of your home promotion, and
Yeah.
arguably well, I shouldn't say arguably, you have had great success over there being the reborn champion. And I do want to touch on this. You got to be in the first casket match in their young history.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess we'll start with the reborn championship. Like what what was it like being put in a position to have the reborn championship and be one of the early holders of that belt.
It was really cool. So like we could even like backtrack a little bit more on that because
Yep.
like I really appreciate Honor Among Wrestling, everything they've done for me. Like always have like a place for them. Just because in the way of like they were like the first promotion to really be like, like, oh, see something in that kid. Let's give him, let's let him do his stuff. Put him out there. Let's book him consistently. Let's see what he's got. And so like just giving me like that platform, the opportunity to really just like, hey, I can go more than 3 to 5 minutes and get beat by whoever your youngest trainee is, kind of thing. It's like not throwing any shade at anyone specific out there, but it's just like having that kind of like because everyone has that promotion where like they took their chance on them, and that just happened to be Honor Among Wrestling for me. But yeah, like slowly working my up because I've been there since I think their second show that they've had, and just like slowly like building more trust with them until they're like, "Hey, we want you to have this belt. Would you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Absolutely, I want to do it. That's awesome." And like yeah, it feels good to have like, a lot of people think, oh, it's like it's work, but it's a shoot if it's a work. You know what I mean? Like if they have the trust in you to give you their belt, like they're gonna expect some kind of return on that. And
No,
so like really good confidence booster basically to just have them be like, hey, we want you in this featured position.
yeah, and I agree. Like, yeah, people will try to put down titles occasionally, but like, I think Mick Foley said it best when he kind of compared it to like, say, like an Academy Award. Like, in theory, you're getting that because you're either doing good work or they think they're ready for you to take it up to the next level because they think you can do that sort of good work.
Yeah.
And and especially for people to like be in a company practically day one and be able to work their way up through the ranks, like obviously it means they see something in you, whether it's a 6 month journey, a 2 year journey, heck, even the almost the equivalent of like a lifetime achievement award in certain wrestlers. um
Yeah. People that try to put
but
down belts, like it kind of doesn't make any sense to me because it's like, yeah, sure, like you didn't actually win like the UFC World Heavyweight title, whatever. But like growing up as a kid and like most people that want to get into wrestling, you dreamed of winning the big one at some point. Like you didn't get into this business because you wanted to be not the world champion, you know?
No, exactly. And I mean, I'm not in the business and I am a 40-year-old man. And if you want to make me your champion, like I don't have a day in the business, but I'll take the belt right now. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe I'll argue a little bit, like try to argue a little bit if it's a bigger company
Just to
because
save
I don't want to be.
face.
I don't because I don't want to necessarily be compared to David Arquette. No shade intended to him, but his title reign I think did some damage to
Just a
WCW.
little.
But
Just a little bit.
yeah, but AEW's not door thinking about giving me a title, so it's okay for me to say these things.
Mm,
But like no, again, like it's it's a sign of faith, and it's basically as long as and this is pulling back the curtain, but like as long as they're not using the title to either a like con you into like locking you in there forever, or b using the title in lieu of payment, then whatever,
right.
collect all the belts. I mean, turn that get belts everywhere, turn into a gimmick like Kenny Omega,
I
you
can.
know,
Yeah.
be the belt collector. I don't know. That's maybe I don't have the right thought on the business, but back in the day, the championship got paid more because he was the one bringing butts to the
Yeah.
seats
Main
too.
events
So
get paid
his
more.
presence
Get your cut of the
exactly.
box office, buddy.
Back to the point of the matter. Obviously, they saw something in you. As I said, we also like you now got a crew. You've also got a crew around you in the form of Aura, if I'm not mistaken,
Aura. Yeah.
and
Coined by
uh,
Robbie Reeves and Stone Ambrose. Those kids.
is this your first experience being part of a full stable?
It is, yeah. And I was initially like very hesitant on it because like I hate in companies when everyone's in a stable. You know what I mean? Because like I feel like it like diminishes and dilutes the stable if you have like five stables running around for the company. And so like initially I was a bit wary on it. I'd always just been my own guy doing my own thing. But I was like, well, okay, we'll see what it's like. We'll give it a shot. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a whole lot of fun having just guys to play off of, doing the whole aura bit. So first stable, and it's fun. It's a good time.
Well, ultimately, that's the important thing, and I mean, the perk of again being indie wrestling, you know, you can have the stable here, and then go off to Pro Wrestling Revolver, or, well, Dreamwave or whatever, and just still be just be your own guy, or do
Yeah.
something completely different over there. You can be some sort of weird goofy tag team guy or something in some other company. Whatever
And
works.
country.
Yeah, and country. Also, usually one of the goals in professional wrestling, are got the allegedlys like that. Christopher Daniels and the Curry Man are allegedly the same person, but I see you never really saw a lot of Curry Man in the U.S. He outside of a brief TNA run, he was mostly a
Yeah.
Japanese guy. But joking aside, but yeah, and I know Aura has been, I mean, led by you, kind of been kind of like the thing in Honor Among Wrestling. So obviously, at least over there, it's working out.
Yeah, started it, been a lot of fun. Robbie Reeves, Stone Ambrose, White Meat just won their first tag titles there, the inaugural tag team champions for Honor Among Wrestling a couple nights ago, so that was a lot of fun. But yeah, that's just what's been going on over there.
And I want to touch on it because I don't know if I've ever talked to anyone who's done a casket match. So, I go we'll go like kind of a two-pronged question. So, one, like how did the casket match kind of get set up, like whether you can do storyline, or like how was it pitched to you, and then two, like going into the match, like what like runs through your head, like on like how you're going to perform in the match, or like the psychology of it.
Oh, that's a fun story. So I found out it was going to be a casket match at the same time everyone else found out it was going to be a casket match when the graphic dropped. And I said, "The hell are we doing? What, a casket match?" And I think like the story of why the casket match goes is one of the people that worked at the company. I don't know if it was a yard sale or Goodwill or something, but there was just a big box getting sold, and like communication happened like, "Yo, do we want this for something? Can we use this for something?" And one thing leads to the next, and me and Jack Fowler are having a casket match. As far as psychology goes, I mean, there's not a whole lot of great casket matches out there. I wouldn't say mine also is the greatest casket match that's ever been had. You know, we didn't put on that Punk MJF dog collar performance. I remember, like, I was like, all right, let me study a bunch of casket matches. And I was looking through, I'm like, what's the more recent casket match? Because, you know, I love, like, old NWA WCW. That's not really going to fly in today with what we're doing. And so I was like, what's the most recent casket match I could find? Oh, sick. Brian Danielson and Kane had one on SmackDown, apparently, within the last decade. And I was just like, I love Brian Danielson. He's amazing. Surely he found a way to make this incredible. And like, you know, that's the GOAT, you know? And I remember sitting on the exercise bike watching this match happening. I was like, oh, I'm cooked. I know this is not. we're we're cooked for this one. And then even better, night before the casket match, I'm up in Minnesota working for Ironheart in a singles match, and I ended up spraining my ankle. And so it's just like going into that match. It's like we're gonna have a match, brother. Out of all the casket matches that have ever been had in the history of professional wrestling, this will be one of them.
If it's any consolation, it's better than Alabama Doink and Heidenreich. If
And
you
that's
need
all I
it.
ever asked for right there.
I know that's
That's all I
maybe
wanted.
setting the bar a little low, but
No, I can hang my
um,
boots up on that one. We did it.
no, that is crazy. Because like I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not 100%, always current on Honor Among Wrestling. Like there's just so much wrestling that I watch and
There's so much
but
wrestling in the world.
and then trying to do what minuscule research I do to pretend to have this podcast and only sound like half an idiot instead of a whole idiot. I saw that. And it's just I saw that they were promoting a casket match, and like outside of the concept of like that was their Halloween seasons show, I'm like, is there even like a logistical storyline reason for the cast? They just
We had a gimmick going into it where I just hate Jack Valor. He's just like this skinny little punk, and I'm like, why are you here? I remember there was a brief period of time where anytime anyone in Aura would see Jack, we would all just start screaming, "Kill Jack Valor!" and just jump him. And that happened for a couple months there, where it's just always attacking Jack.
dirty job, but someone's got to do it. But yeah, I just did.
Dude, so that he's a young kid, right? He's Mick, maybe I think he's 18. I think he's
Yeah.
barely 18. And I swear to God, every time I see him, he gets taller. I first met him,
uh,
he was just a fan at CSW, and he was like, you know, uh, probably like 5'7", 5'8". And the kid's goddamn near 6'3" now, and he keeps going up, and I'm like, we have to kill him. He's getting too big, and it's not fair, and we just have to chop him down.
well, you got to get him now because if he
We
keeps
gotta get him now. He's gonna become too powerful.
yeah, I go say if he gets 6'8", 7, 6'8", 7 feet tall, especially on the indies, like that's
Once he starts putting
that's
some mass on, we're in
yeah, it's
danger.
you're,
Once that metabolism slows down a little, he starts putting some size on. We're done. We need to
uh,
take him out now.
oh that's like I mean, I was never like that much of a bully, but like that thought horrifies me of like maybe being a jerk to someone while they're, while they're, a handful of inches shorter than me and rail thin, and then just for them to
Just
come
over
back and all
time.
this, just I'm dunking
That's
on
the
him a
real
little bit
reason
now.
Aura was created. He started getting too big, and I was like, I'm not sure about this. I need the boys. I need everybody.
I can't reach his head, so I'm just gonna like catapult some teammates up at him. We're gonna
Yeah, it's like I'm
we're gonna do
not
some
a short
chaos
man.
project.
I'm not a small guy, but getting to the point where I'm slowly looking up at him, and there's no end in sight. This is going to become an issue in the future.
Well, just remember, like though, if he gets too tall, you'll have the center of gravity thing going on
Yeah.
because like that's something I've learned the hard way doing residential treatment. it
He will
was
never be too big for me to throw.
yeah, I guess say whether people I've been tossed usually on accident because I was like a foot taller than the person who was rampaging through our cafeteria. Center, low center. They caught me like just below the belly button. And I just rolled because
Yeah. Went.
all my weight is up. All my weight is in my torso, and you
Yep.
take me down below the torso, and oh, it's the people that are 5'3" on that front. You got to watch out in terms of staying on your feet, like especially if they don't fight fair. Uh, but again, like I think that's overall just still crazy. And wrapping it with the going back to the casket match that you just kind of found out with everybody else,
Graphic
and
hit, and I said, "What the? What?" I remember I just looked at it, I said, "Why?"
uh and like I said, like hey, at least you had like a real box again, like I referenced Heidenreich and
We did have
Alabama
a real
Doink.
box.
Yeah, they had a box, but it was a refrigerator box, so it wasn't even you know
Stable.
pretend wood. like, like I if it wasn't announced like in the match graphic, because there's no commentary for that match. If it wasn't said in the match graphic that was a casket match, I would just been like, why are you throwing people in the
Why is there
refrigerator
a
box,
box?
buddy? Yeah, like so anyone at home, if you want some laughably bad wrestling, almost anything involving Alabama Doink and Heidenreich together, because that is like B movie gold right there.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you like the equivalent of wrestling's B movies, like that is it right there. That is your I Am Legend and and 13
Yeah.
Ghosts, etc. of professional wrestling. Um, but no, that is crazy. Go nuts. Is there been any other like random stipulation matches that you've just been thrust into that you like had no clue, and it was more than just like Falls Count Anywhere or anything? Like, you got any more like interesting like
Not yet, thankfully. Thankfully, no one's just randomly thrown me in like a 9-person cage match.
you're gonna get a Kennel from Hell match like next week because some
Don't
promoter's
jinx me,
gonna hear
brother.
this.
Don't jinx me.
Somebody's gonna hear this podcast and be like, Theseus should be in a Kennel from Hell match. Let's.
Yeah.
My neighbor's got a Shih Tzu. Like, that's a dog, right? We
That
just
is
put
a
it in a
dog.
cage. We'll put it in a cage. Bam, Kennel from Hell. Like, there we go. Maybe it'll go better than Boss Man and Al Snow. Who knows?
Only one way to find out.
There's your new claim to fame. The promotion just put you in like random gimmick matches and
Just the
just.
most random bullshit matches you can think of.
I mean, though, if you can make them work, that'll like honestly like make you like probably the greatest worker ever. Let's be realistic about it. If you just be put into like random shindy matches with next to
Yeah.
no notice.
That's what we got to do. We got to get to the point where I don't even know what the match is heading to the ring. It's announced on the entrance on the way in what we're doing.
Bring back the raw, make raw roulette a thing and a regular thing. There we
Yeah.
go. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I loved Raw Roulette as a chaos gremlin. I mean, granted, I knew that they quasi fixed those things, so like
Yeah.
magically Ric Flair's in a cage match for some odd reason, even though like that's the match
Good
he's
thing
been
we had a
petitioning for.
cage.
On the other side, like there's not too many cages on the indies. Like those are expensive. So I mean, you might be on your way up in the world if you can get to an indie with a decent cage. You
Hey,
should.
we'll see.
There we go. I mean, I think the only one I've ever been to is literally just dog kennel, but they sprung for a lot of dog kennel and like put two dog fences on top of each other.
Oh
So
yeah.
so so it was like it might have been like a legit 20 feet up, but it was rickety, and I was like, okay, I don't do
Scary.
high, I don't do heights to begin with, but I wouldn't be doing an escape the cage out of that thing. Um, but that's also me being chicken and concerned for my own safety, and it's- I'll put my feelers out there, try to make that a thing for you. Just random gimmick Theseus as every week, something new.
Yeah, draw the match out of a hat. We'll figure it out.
Now, yeah, so but we need to bring it back to Raw Roulette because it's just one of my
Yeah.
favorite lame gimmicks. That's if we can't get anybody to do like another Taboo Tuesday, then we need to bring back Raw
I'm
Roulette.
surprised, like, maybe it is a thing. I just don't know about it. I'm not very tapped in to the goings on of anything, really. But, like, I'm surprised there aren't more, like, indie places where it's like, Yo, let's do Taboo Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, especially how technology is, and like you can just do Twitter polls now.
Yeah, like just who do you guys want to see this person face this month? Who should defend the world title here? Like,
I mean, I know WWE actually I used to do just like randomly for house shows. They would just have people like text like a 5-digit number during a house show before
yeah,
intermission, and you got to see Randy Orton take on Jinder Mahal in either Extreme Rules, a street fight, or Falls Count Anywhere, and all from the Vibrant Arena, or
yeah.
whatever it's called this week. But no, I am kind of surprised that they haven't done a little bit more. Like some places haven't done a little bit more like that. Though, like what they really should do if you really want to be make some money out of the deal, just be like $5. You get to write the match, a match that you want to see, put it in a hat, and then they draw like it's like a raffle.
Dude, that's a great idea,
Use the match
actually.
raffle. Actually, if you're just gonna have the gimmick match anyway, like, and then
Yeah.
I mean,
Someone
granted,
out there needs to do it. Do it, you cowards, do it.
it's free money, and you could try to like sway it a little bit. I mean, obviously, you want to tell your crowd to be realistic, that we aren't gonna have a Hell in a Cell, because we don't have Hell in a Cell money.
Yeah.
But like, do
If you want to fund the Hell in a Cell, put Hell in a Cell on there. Otherwise, shut up.
but we have a bunch of weapons, or like we have a bunch of doors. You get yourself a tables match.
Yeah.
We have one rickety ladder. Like we could do you could do an ECW style ladder match, where back in the day, instead of hanging things up from the ceiling, they just had a regular match, except there was ladders now. Just license to print money. Come on, come on,
There it
guys.
is.
You got to be creative on the and do this, and just cost point low. Bam. You've probably made at least $20 that you didn't have to do any real work on. Come on, guys. Let's make it happen. I don't know. I'm hoping maybe the Wizard sees he's listening to this. We can add this to his list of things he wants to do in his indie super show if he ever gets rich. Because we're already looking at a forklift match if we ever get wrestling promotion money.
Yeah, man, throw me in there. Why not?
There we go. Under the pretense that we won't tell you it's a forklift match until
Mm-hmm.
you show up. So
Just
that'll be
whatever
your
match. No, I'm saying, pull the hat.
just pull that
Just throw me. Just be like, hey, you're booked on this show. I'm like, I'll show up if like here. We'll see what happens.
All right, we've gone off the rail on this, but so since we're on the topic of gimmick matches, is there a specific match type that you haven't done that you would really want to try as a wrestler?
Oh man, so like long shot obviously can only happen under specific circumstances. But I think like being involved in an elimination chamber match would be like the sickest shit. Because like growing up, like watching those matches as a little kid, it's like, oh my God. Like these are the most entertaining, like hard hitting, craziest things going on.
Oh, it was especially when it first was created. Like it was so unique, comparatively
Yeah, like
speaking.
that first one with was it 2003 Survivor Series, I want to say? 2002, 2003, one of those.
It been yeah, it was say Shawn Michaels had like just come back because
Yeah, Shawn Michaels with the brown tights coming
which
through for the world title.
FYI, I'm a nerd, and that's still my favorite HBK tights. Like
Is it really?
I am the vocal minority.
I was gonna say you are the only person I've ever heard say those are your favorite HBK types. Mine are absolutely the old blue ones from the 90s.
I
Uh, but no, man, Elimination Chamber match would be amazing to be part of, and just like what kind of stuff can we figure out to do that hasn't been done yet?
Yeah, I outside of like say your Kofi Kingston's and RVD, like I don't think they've properly like explored, you know, we'll call it the space in the cage that well. It seems like they really like to focus on putting people like through the pods, but like we don't have guys like swinging off the top of the chamber and doing like a shooting star press
Yeah,
or
not a whole lot going on. Like I think John Morrison did something like that once, but yeah, not a whole lot. Like it feels like yeah, exactly what you're saying.
I mean, there's area to be explored. I mean, granted, like if we've learned anything from AAA's like dome matches, like you got to be a special athlete just to kind of climb it proper. But
Yeah.
but again, like if we get kind of a Hulkin flyer in there, like down Rey Mysterio's got some pretty good upper body strength. Like there's no reason why he couldn't go like 3/4 of the way off the cage and do a partial moonsault or
Dude, I'm
something.
trying to see Bronson Reed hit a goddamn splash off the top of a pond on somebody. That's what I'm
Oh,
trying to see.
FYI, video game nerd here too, and my best friend and I create what we call the knockout chamber. It's just an elimination chamber, but the only way to be eliminated is just via KO. So whenever like the game decides that person's knocked out, then they're
Whenever the
eliminated.
person's dead.
Yeah, and my go-to move to eliminate people is just to dive off the top of a pod, like repeatedly.
Amazing.
That's just the thing. I just dive off of it. Unfortunately, my caw is not Bronson Reed, so it is not nearly. I mean, it might be just as entertaining because he totally like looks like a crazy person, but he's no Bronson Reed jumping off the
Yeah.
top of things and tidal waving people. So then I have to ask. So you want to be in an elimination chamber? Like, who would you want to be in there with? Like, and this could be anyone. Like, well, if we're gonna go
All
fantasy book,
time?
I'll let you like, yeah, time travel. Steal people from other companies. Like, would you have a Mount Rushmore that you want to fight in elimination chamber?
Mount Rushmore for the chamber? Sure. It's just gonna be a mess, is what it's gonna be, but we'll go with it.
Beautiful, love it.
Number
That make it even
one,
better.
we're getting Kurt Angle in there, dude. I need Kurt in there.
Oh yeah, well, he's gonna be the guy that's gonna moonsault off a pod. Like, especially if
I
we get him from
know.
like,
We need
especially
Kurt
get
in
him
there.
when we get him about 2010, and he was an absolute madman.
Yeah, get TNA Kurt Angle in there. I
Yeah.
want to see. I want to see. I don't want to. I want to be in the pod that he's jumping off of while he's doing that. I want to see what's going on. We can get Kurt in there. Let's get. Um, we got to get Sean in there. Of course, we got to get Sean in there. If you're doing a dream match and like a multi-man dream match, how are you not have Shawn Michaels just in there just because he's Shawn Michaels?
Mr. WrestleMania, and then of course he,
Yeah,
he holds a victory in the elimination chamber. So that was like his only championship, world championship when he returned was that
yeah.
elimination chamber. So
Picked it up there, lost it like a month or two later.
yeah,
Good guy, Sean. Yeah, we'll put Bronson in there too. Why not?
yeah. Like I say, we got the spot
I
planned
want to
for
see
him.
that happen too. We're just gonna have a bunch of big meaty men, and then me and Shawn Michaels. That's what's gonna happen. We're gonna
Dude,
have Bronson Reed. We're gonna have Kurt Angle, me, Shawn Michaels. Who else do we want in this? Let's get Goldberg in there. Why not?
go. There we go.
Is
Oh,
that six? Do
someone's
we
now
add six there?
see Bronson, Sean, Goldberg. You.
Do we need one more? We need another
I think we
guy.
need one more.
We need one more for this abomination of a match.
Yeah, yeah.
Who would be just a random pick? Who's someone that would be amazingly hilarious to be in there?
So we get Jack Valor, so you can kill him. He's now 7 feet tall.
7'8" Jack Valor. Why not? Throw him in there. Why not,
Specifically
man?
7'8".
Yeah. We have to wait till he gets there.
The beautiful thing is though, then like it won't even be you that eliminates him. Like it'll be Bronson Reed and Kurt Angle tandem, like
Yeah.
splash moonsault off the two different pods that have to take him down. And then I don't know, you get in there with a quick roll up and take out Bronson Reed or something. Like I don't know.
Brother, he would just sit on me. I ain't rolling nothing up. I ain't rolling a damn thing up with Bronson Reed.
This is why I'm not a booker. That's the most I want to make you do something totally unsafe. It'll be fine. Just roll up Bronson Reed. Like
Let's roll up Bronson Reed. I don't think he'd notice if I tried to roll him up.
It's like a weird tickling sensation, like in my thigh,
Yeah.
and then like, oh, there's a hand.
That who threw that piece of paper at me type vibe.
He's just dragging you around, wrestling the rest of the match. That's.
I'm actually just hiding on his back for the entirety of the match, just clinging on like a fucking baby koala bear.
You know what? I would pay money for that to be like an ending to a battle royal. Like like get Hornswoggle in, and then like a Bronson Reed kind of guy, and just have Swoggle in the guy's singlet. Like they
just hanging out,
like the entire like a Lord Humongous style throughout like the match, and like they can either be eliminated together or like we can that'll be like the screwy finish where Swoggle like pops out the singlet, like the guy like covers the guy's face and just like they flop over, flop over the ropes. Uh, I
Oh
mean,
man,
that's it.
there it is. There's the Dream Chamber match.
There's our and Dream Battle Royal by proxy. Now I need I need real money so I can promote a show. It has the forklift match and man, I don't know how much that Elimination Chamber is going to cost. I mean, just talent
The time
alone, not even
chamber's all you
counting.
need. It's all you need is a time machine
There we
to
go.
steal people from time.
Oh man, I not gonna lie, I don't think we're gonna top this part part of the interview. So we'll if we can't take it up any farther, we'll try to end it on that. Where can we find you in the coming weeks, and then where can we find you online?
Um, for the coming weeks, let me pull up my calendar here because wrestling causes brain damage, kids. You will forget things. All
You
right, for
know,
the coming weeks, my next confirmed booking, I believe, is going to be at Honor Among Wrestling. But I mean, I'm always showing up places if you just want to say hi. I'll probably be popping up at Ironheart this weekend, the 15th, Saturday. After that, I'm heading over to Battleground Saturday. Trailblazer in Kansas, I'm probably popping up down there 29th. Like I said, you got to make towns, man. You got to get down there. Hello?
oh, I lost you when you flipped back over.
Oh,
You
okay.
still with
Well,
me?
yeah, got to make towns. That's it. Got to make towns, talk to people, try to get booked. That's the name of the game. As for
Yeah,
online,
I got to be seen.
you can find me at Lion of Greece on Instagram, and that's basically all where I am. Like I have a Twitter. I don't use it. So just go to at Lion of Greece on Instagram. You'll find me there. We'll have a grand old time. See me doing dumb wrestling shit. See me working out. That's about it. That's all we got going on.
That's what Instagram's
Yeah,
for, right? You know, clips that you hope go viral and or your workout routine.
that's it.
That's the occasional promo here or there. Do you have a pro wrestling tees or any merch stations for us to hit up, or we just got to hit you up directly?
I got nothing at the moment. Just hit me up, and I'll figure something out. Hit you with the general like, "Hey, catch you at the next show, buddy."
Hey, that's fair. Just doing what I can to make if I could funnel people.
Yeah. If you want to support your boy, you don't need to spend money. You don't need to buy anything. Buy a ticket if I'm in town. Talk to your local promoters and promotions. Be like, "Hey, put Theseus on the show." That's the best way to support me at the moment.
Hey, whatever works, whatever gets money in your pocket. But thank you for hopping on the show, Theseus, especially this last part here. And I think the entire thing wasn't grand, but fantasy booking was amazing.
Thank you, man. It's been a pleasure.
The Confusion Wrestling Podcast is a weekly podcast that is written and performed by Rob Kammer and hosted by Spotify for podcasters. The background music for this section is Ruined by Day, performed by Alan Schroeder. If you enjoyed this podcast and would like to help support, please like, subscribe, and tell your friends, family, and enemies. Leaving a review is helpful as well, because word-of-mouth advertisement is very important for us small podcasts. My social media links can be found in the description, but Twitter, Instagram, and Blue Sky are at The Nova of Cass. That's TheNovaofCass, and Facebook is MLW Confusion, all one word. If you'd like to support monetarily and help upgrade my equipment, please check out my virtual tip jar at ko-fi.com/Casanova, or if you prefer more bang for your buck, go to patreon.com/Casanova, that's CASSONOVA, where for as little as $2, backers get access to the podcast early and without those pesky ads, plus other exclusive content. So join the crew that is headed up by Keith Wynn, Alan Schroeder, Chris Zach, and Elenia, and check it out. You can also find t-shirts, coffee mugs, and other merch at the Confusion Podcast store on Teespring. Also, be sure to check out the affiliate links in the description below. For business inquiries such as ads, sponsorships, and etc., please email rzkamer, Kamer, at comcast.net. Thank you all for listening.